You have seen the way we broadcasted to all the people, but why it is not reaching to the wide audience is something which I'm quite surprising. Yes, sir. It's a 4:03 that we will begin. By then, we will. I'm sure that we'll have a good audience by then. Ladies and gentlemen, what a delight to introduce myself. My name is Dominic, the Focus Event and Marketing Chairman of Focus. And today we have a wonderful panel. I think one of the best panelists we have. Welcome, Manjunath. We have Chirag from Carrier, and we have Mahesh from Nippon, and Manjunath from UL, our president, Mr. Suresh, and our chairperson of sustainability, Ms. Mala Singh. So, on October 26th, 2020, the Focus was born. The Focus was born to bring all the critical services under one platform, more like a federation. So Forum is spread over in 4 cities as on today. We have excellent membership. We have 21 vertical, whether it is electrical, plumbing, elevators, BIM, then we have high BMS, security, fire, all the critical services under one platform. So we have been doing a series of knowledge webinar, and this is our 12th webinar. And today we are focused on sustainability, healthy building, and healthy planet. So to talk more about Focus and what we are and what is our vision, I would like to play a small video that will enlighten everyone. Mamata, can we have a video, please?
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. We are delighted to present to you the Forum of Critical Utility Services, the acronym of which is FOCUS. Much as the acronym suggests, the role of the Forum of Critical Utility Services is to bring in focus all that concerns the construction industry. This is not just for India, but for a coordinated construction industry world over. For those of you who may not be aware, this initiative is to prepare and present a platform where all the verticals of the critical utility services of the construction industry forge into one formidable group that will strive in building unity, aid in diffusing misconceptions, and present itself as a platform for discussions amongst these bodies of professionals. This initiative was born on the 26th of October 2020, when the world was almost silent from the after effects of the pandemic. We say silent because the cry for help and riddance from the clutches of the pandemic were deafening. There simply was no place that was safe anywhere in the world. None of the formidable structures that man had erected was safe for protection from the pandemic. It was during these times that we decided on creating a platform so as to be able to present improved and concerted methodologies of developing projects that shall not just be sustainable or resilient, but also deliver safe environment and a valuable business opportunity to the promoters, not just for some time, but for long time to come. Times when another generation will inherit the good work that we do today. Our efforts begin with drawing the strength from the fields of architecture, electrical, plumbing, HVAC, safety, fire, security, illumination, vertical transportation, IBMS and IT, solid waste management, and last but not the least, facility management. Bring them together and forge them into one strong wheel of change to deliver structures that stand in harmony with Mother Nature on planet Earth. And this, ladies and gentlemen, is our mission. Only when we come together and share our ideas and aspirations will we find the stumbling blocks. It is here then that when we are together and focus towards one goal, we will jointly be able to understand and address our challenges as one formidable force. Not just a force in India, but for a global movement that will find solutions, opportunities, and the means to address productivity, safety, quality, developing skills, training, evolving standards, and ensuring their implementation, thereby becoming centers of excellence and setting benchmarks for generations to pursue and improve. And this is our vision. We have embarked upon reaching out to various verticals of the critical utility services. We will thereafter jointly present our cause to the government and policymakers. We will present our vision to the builders. And we are confident that we will break the shackles of inequality, indifference, ignorance, and mistrust, and build a world that is one with nature. Ladies and gentlemen, we are not here to conjure a forum, but we are here to establish a body that shall have trust, integrity, and honesty for its foundation, and stand on the pillars of knowledge, commitment, enthusiasm, and foresight of its people. Our invitation to you is open. Come and become a part of Focus. It is your contribution and support to Focus that will make a difference to the new India that is being created. Let's join and make this the Bharat that we wear, shining, prosperous, bright, and a true world leader. Let's now focus.
Yes, Dominic, go.
That's Focus, ladies and gentlemen, and I'm so happy to announce that our president, Mr. V. Suresh, has received the very prestigious award called Gaurav Award from Association of Consulting Civil Engineer last Sunday. Congratulations to our president, and it's a proud moment to all the members in the construction industry. And I don't need much of introduction to you and on V. Suresh. He has 56 years professional experience and numerous awards. I straight away ask our president to give his opening remarks. Over to Mr. V. Suresh.
Thank you so much, Dominic, and what a wonderful afternoon to have greet such a galaxy of speakers, and more importantly, all my good friends. And nice to get Chirag for the event to talk, as well as Malaji to take a big lead, and Manjunath also being present there. I hope we'll be able to have the other speakers also joining very shortly. Well, I shouldn't be talking much. Ever since the Focus was already launched 10 months back, we have been having phenomenal growth with literally 3 to 4 webinars taking place every month on diverse topics with 21 verticals in this particular area. And you have taken a very interesting topic today on about the healthy buildings and the healthy planet in a large way. And this is an area in which sustainability becomes an important component. And everybody is concerned on the sector, and more so in the COVID context. And we ourselves took large amount of initiatives in this direction, namely to get from all concerned people involved in this in a very large way, be it from Right Cliff Sustainability Group involved, be it the Indoor Air Quality Group involved, be it the group related to hospitals and healthcare related one, be it related to the materials and interior finishes, another one, because each one of them going to have its effect on the spaces that we create. And therefore, when we have Mahesh joining us from Nippon, he'll be able to indicate those areas which have got direct contact. See the way in which the whole spaces have been created and our activities have taken place in different spaces, either schools or colleges or offices and other related one. And we had the big scare of air conditioning related issue initially, which was supposed to spread infection, and the medical council gave a scare that you can't use it. But ISHRE along with IGBC have joined together to bring a wonderful document immediately in May 2020 itself to dispel all those worries and what needs to be done in this particular sector. And that has been a great help to the whole built environment sector, not only for the existing spaces and as well as the new spaces, what all requires to be done in terms of the temperature, humidity, filter, the circulation of air and other related aspects to dispel some of those things. So we brought in large amount of interesting changes there. So as far as focus is concerned, we are very happy therefore that we have the right group to discuss all in respect of the healthy spaces in the buildings over there. We have the IGBC separate rating for healthcare or hospital rating, a separate health and well-being rating available of various internal conditions which are required in terms of the air or the lighting or the various other parameters that matters very largely. And I'm very happy that including the interiors that matters in terms of, and therefore when you're going to get Chirag joining in this particular, I'm sure you're going to get into those spaces in a big way, and Mahesh will add on in his own inimitable style on what can be done in the for the various interior spaces that's required, exterior and interior paints and other related one. And I'm sure Manjunath will open out on what technology and laboratories can go for the products that are utilized in a large way in the buildings. And it's going to be a very interesting day we are going to have there. With so many speakers there, I should be speaking more than what I already done. Maybe I've taken half a minute more than that. All I want to do is welcome each one of you. I'm sure we'll have a very useful interactive session coming for this particular one. I find that the response is already increasing in a big way now in the last few minutes now, and that'll be good. By the time the main speaker speak that, he'll catch up in a big way, and I'm sure we'll have a very useful interaction. The idea is that Focus wants to convey a very powerful meaning of how the built environment that we are creating, either interior space and exterior spaces, are contributing towards the healthy environment, and more importantly, the sustainability factor being kept in view in a very large way. And that's the most important aspect, be it in the water, energy, or waste management, carbon footprint reduction, indoor air quality, and overall quality of life to be enhanced in a big way. So thank you very much. I want to give all my best wishes to Malaji, chairman of the sustainability team, and all the distinguished speakers for their own contribution going to come. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Suresh, sir. Wonderful. And we have our moderator, Ms. Mala Singh, and also to give welcome note for today's webinar. And she's the founder and MD of PET Greening India and chairperson sustainability of Focus. She has a wonderful achievement. If you look at the prestigious award, I think is more than 19 to 20 awards, and great execution of sustainable building, which has platinum rating. And she gave me at least 3 pages. I tried to fit up in the 1 page PPT, but I'm sure I don't want to read the entire biodata here. And I'm sure over the period, I'm sure Mala Singh will create an impact, that she is a good leader in sustainability, and we have complete trust on her in the Focus to take this initiative forward. Over to Mala.
Yeah. So thank you, Mr. Dominic, for a wonderful introduction. And thank you, Suresh sir. You be here always to inspire us. and you are the, our main energy, the source of energy here. Me as a Mala Singh, very glad that I'm a part of Focus, and especially the vertical, the sustainability, which is the, I would say, the need of the hour and the most important area where I feel that it's my privilege that I'm a part of Focus, and I am taking this forward, to sensitize a large communities and societies. First of all, I would like to thank all my dignitary speakers who are in front of me. Thank you, Maheshji. Thank you, Chiragji. Thank you, Manjunathji. Thank you, Sunitaji. I can't see you. But, in just one invitee, you just accepted, my request. So thank you very much for that. And hi, Sunitaji. Thank you so much for being here with us. Yeah. So I think before, because I have been given as a moderator job here, I have already wonderful speakers and they are going to speak on the subject itself. I think before I invite them one by one, I would like to just say that we have understood clearly that health of human beings and health of the planet, they are interrelated with each other. If my planet health is not well, so human health is not well. So finally, what we need, 90% of our, I would say, the life period we spend inside the buildings, either we are working in the offices, either we are staying at home, and 90%, I would say, for the air pollution, if you see in the indoor premises, basically it is from the indoor premises itself. Air quality is so bad. If you just check the air quality in the indoor spaces also, it is also as bad as even you can't imagine the kind of air we are breathing. So nowadays, we have heard about green buildings, and green building has taken a lot of shape in our country now. We have IGBC, as Suresh has said, we have LEED, GRIHA, and various certification programs we have already. But I think this healthy building concept, this is the, I would say, new buzzword in the global world, where people are not just addressing now only the resource efficiency, only the green part, only the green element, but we are also addressing human health, social health, and his well-being. So his well-being and health is also equally important for us. Rather just we are addressing only environmental impact still so far. So green plus healthy, that becomes a sustainable building. So now we are talking about sustainable buildings because we are talking about green and healthy buildings both, not just green buildings. So I think if I just look into the kind of projects we are also doing, we were just focusing on natural resources, its consumption pattern. All of us know that we have already reached the tipping point. I would say irreversible tipping point, on the Mother Earth. But we should not feel negative because still there is a chance, still there is opportunity for our generation, still to fight with this challenge and still to contribute as an individual, as an organization. And whatever role I am playing on this planet as a stakeholder of the planet, I think still we can do. So I would say with a positive note that there is a huge opportunities of technologies, energy efficient technologies, sustainable products. We have green certified products. We have green building tools. We have various standards which are not only talking about green products and materials, but also it is talking about your IEQ standards we have. We have the technologies which are not only addressing, the product and materials, but also the air quality, water quality. So we have now solutions available. So I think the time is there that we have the like-minded people, we have the, the decision makers who are the set, I would say, as a benchmark projects they are doing for their own organization. Like Sunita ji we have from Mahindra today. So she is also just an example of, the women leadership in the sustainability. And she is already creating the sustainability in this entire agenda within her organization. So this is what I think people are there who are working on this particular aspect now, and they want to create this green and healthy building environment. We have people like Maheshji, who is not focusing on the just products, conventional products, but also focusing on the green products, which are more sustainable, which are more healthy, which can help us to create a better healthy environment for the people, not just for the commercial purpose, but also his health and well-being being taken care. So this is what I believe, and Chirag is there. So Chirag is there because he's representing, HVAC India as a managing director. So Chirag is also, he is a leader, I would say, in the sustainability part from his organization. And I think he will talk more in the presentation, what he's doing. I would love to give this opportunity to Chirag talk about, but which I'm aware that they are also having a wide range of the products, which are very, very helpful to the, for the optimization of energy efficiency as well as for the health and well-being of the occupants. Similarly, research and development is also equally important for us. So we have Manjunath ji here today from UL. So Manjunath ji will talk about more about the standards, because we don't have, suppose we don't have the benchmarks. So how we will compare, our progress, our performance? So we should have benchmarks. So I think there we have Manjunath ji. He will talk about the IQ standards. He will also talk about the material and products range, which they are, providing certifications, and they have the standards, which all other rating program across the world is adopting their standards. So I have a wonderful panel of speakers here. Just excuse me, Sunita ji, because I would like to give opportunity to Chirag ji first today to speak, because Chirag ji has just personally requested me to, he has some important meeting. So Chirag ji, I would like to, call upon you for the presentation, if you could just join us. So before I call Chirag ji for the presentation, I would like to just a brief introduction about Chirag ji. Mr. Chirag Vejil is the Managing Director of HVAC India, carrier company. So we all know that company is a big brand itself. So basically, he is the thought leader in the field of sustainability. And Chirag is also taking a lot of participation in the Indian Green Building Council as a board member, executive board member, and also promoting sustainability in his organization in his own way through product intervention, through technology intervention. So Chirag ji, it's a big introduction about you, but I would love if you could share your presentation to the audience. I think then we can take it forward.
Thank you, Mala, and thank you. Appreciate being with the fellow panelists and looking forward to also hearing your perspective. Before I start the presentation, the reason why we get attracted towards focus, it's because, let me just take a minute and talk about this because that's close to me personally. Utilities, and look at this from a lens of where we are as an economy. We are perhaps at a stage where in our evolution, we have given a lot of importance to what is tangible, can be seen, felt, touched, and the society appreciates it. It could be a watch, a car, a phone, and utilities can only be experienced. And only in the absence of critical utilities do we feel that their place is extremely important in a building. Now, as we are progressing, hopefully we will play our part as a group. It is never too late to start talking about it. I think Dominic said in the beginning that why is it that sustainability, or now that we have healthy buildings also as one of the areas, is not widely spoken and discussed. I think it's our job, it's our duty to keep talking about it. There is a saying that jab jago tabhi savera. It is what I believe in. It's not about getting disheartened. This is what attracts us because we also play a part in the utilities in a building. At the risk of repetition, but I'll keep talking about this, at HVAC 1 on a sustainability side plays an extremely important role. Just the number that, if all of you can remember, that 40% of the world's energy consumption is in the building, in the built environment. Of that 40% of the world's total energy consumption, 40% comes from HVAC. Yeah. So if you can really look at it, the total energy consumption in the world, 16% of that is because of HVAC. So we have that responsibility, ownership as companies to be able to do something that we leave a better place behind us. And I'll talk a little bit more about that in my presentation too. There are some mega trends that all of you would have witnessed in a developing country. like India. One of them is the growth of middle class and urbanization. That's not going to stop. What we are experiencing is a huge mega trend on digitalization, which has only got accelerated because of COVID-19. That itself is a big trend. And then we look at climate conservation and regulations across the world as playing an extremely critical role. Now, Focus or IGBC and all of us together have a role to play. In fact, the people who are attending this right now, you've made a choice to attend this and hopefully go and play it back somewhere else. Adopt some of it if you choose to in your lives going forward. So what I'll do is, I think I'll share the deck. I believe, would you have Dominic share the deck, Mala?
Yes, we can do it.
Is the option there? You can share yourself. Yeah.
Okay. So if you can go back, go to the next slide, please. Yeah.
it's fine.
In terms of, yeah, thank you. In terms of carrier, the only thing I wanted to share is that for us, healthy building started last year as a concept. We've taken a leadership across the world to start this concept, and you'll get to hear in the next 5 minutes in which all ways it is, because it's not about products and services alone. It's about the understanding of the built environment in which we operate. So whether it is the way we associate ourselves with the Well Building Institute across the world, we've got a worldwide tie-up with them. We are founding members of the Green Building Councils, as many as 16 of them across the world. Proud to be with IGBC for over about now since 2003-4, perhaps about 15 years. And of course, leading the thought leadership in the area which lends productivity and growth for the world, which is in comfort, the temperature and humidity control. Next slide, please. Now, there are some statistics that I want all of you to focus on. That when I mentioned the healthy buildings piece as a word, we started last year talking about it more, but the research that we partnered working with the Harvard T.H. Chan School of Health goes back to 2015 onwards. So since 2015, we came out with 2 of these definitive studies. One of them on the top right is called the cognitive function impact of a green building and the health impact of the green buildings. Now, I think Mala did speak about this, that 90% of our time is indoors. Now, this is something that we already know. Whether we live and work, we're largely going to be in the built environment, particularly in a country where we are. And COVID-19 has just pushed us away from each other into different buildings. Now, if you look at some of these statistics, if you look at the bottom, the blue chart, it essentially summarizes that in a high-performing green building versus a conventional building, or high-performing green certified building versus a high-performing non-certified building, what is the impact in terms of health? So we have seen across the buildings a 30% less symptoms, or sick building syndrome as it is called, and a 6.5% improved sleep quality. Now, this is substantial if you start looking at what it does to the occupants of the building in terms of health. If you look at society's health on the right bottom, this is over a period of 15 years in monetary terms, $13.5 billion saved to the society, out of which half of it is energy cost. And then we have costs associated with about health and climate benefits amounting to close to about $6 billion. And in general, the economic costs associated with the people's health in the building. And the moment you look at the cognitive functions, which is again research-based, 131% better response to crisis, to the way that even strategy scores were higher, close to about 3 times better. This is research-based work that we have done. You can access it by going and searching on this on Google. You'll be directed on to download the COG effects and the health effects studies. I encourage you to read this. Next slide, please. We've also done this last year, As I was talking about this, that we started talking using the word healthy buildings last year. We did this again with the T.H. Chan School of Public Health at Harvard in US. What are the 9 foundations of a healthy building? So what you see on the screen here are these 9 foundations, starting from ventilation, air quality, thermal health, filtration, moisture, safety and security, and noise. Now, this is pretty much that will apply to any built environment. I'm not going to read through all of them, but what I wanted you to do is to start looking at this in terms of what all in a built environment can we start doing a discussion on, have knowledge base that can help and work with us, and then start to pick each one of them to assess ourselves, whether it is a residential application or any other application for that matter. And you'll get to see that some of these will apply more in a few vertical customer segments versus the others. Next slide, please. A simplistic approach. So, and this is again an area where I want to leave as a thought. It has to start with assessing ourselves, of knowing where we are. And I heard somebody speak about this 15 minutes ago, that unless we have standards and labeling, unless we have a benchmark or a reference point, how do we really assess ourselves? So let's look at what all do we need to assess. Can I look at assessing the indoor air quality, wellness assessments basis some standards, whether it is my emergency assets, again, a part of the critical utilities topic that we are talking about. And then looking at where is it that I need to focus on upgrading myself. And this again depends upon which segment of a building application that I'm talking about. And then looking at when I'm operating my building, how much of importance am I really giving to operations and maintenance? And can I put in more technology in doing my operations and maintenance? Go ahead, please. Next slide. Now I want to leave you with quick snapshot of 3 such segments. The first one being schools. One of the most important. There is a conversation. I think a lot of people on the call are parents themselves. There has been a constant conversation about should we be sending our children to school or not? What do we do now? How do we give the children experience that they may be missing out in the younger years of their life, which we as adults never missed and we took it for granted? Now, this is coming out of research that we've done in the US. Of course, this data was not readily available for India, so please pardon me for that. But it's important to see the trend or look at this in terms of what the data is telling us. Yeah. Health and infection control on the left side. Now, look at this. For the ventilation that I spoke about as one of the areas, for every hour increase in the air exchange, there was a 12% decrease in sick number of days. Now, this is accounted for given that children overall will take about 15,500 hours in school through their school life. Yeah. Now, if you look at infections like measles, which again are something that we've seen spread amongst children, that is the infection that rate was cut with the use of advanced filtration or ventilation technologies being used in schools. Look at the performance. I've never imagined till the time I saw this research that ventilation can actually have a direct impact on attention span. So it's a 5% impact assessed on this. And at the bottom of the slide, what you'll see is the resources or where is this data coming from. Now, this is all research-based data. This is not just where, so carrier partners worldwide in doing such research. Look at the one which talks about taking an exam and how the failure rate is influenced by the temperature and humidity control. So between a 32 degrees Celsius to a 24 or 25 degrees Celsius can have an impact on the ability, cognitive ability, and make a difference between somebody passing or failing. And also, of course, the impact on the staff that works in the school, from we're looking at the emissions or the CO2 concentration to the way that how teachers may want to stick with one building or one school, which is better ventilated or taking care of its environment versus the other. Next slide, please. Similar thing on healthcare. So what is happening in healthcare is known to all of us. They are not only the biggest pillar holding the economy of all the countries together, we are all dependent upon them. So it's not just the patients, the staff, the costs have gone up for them for every day of operations. Their resilience is being tested, is also going to be continue to get tested as time passes by. How do they increase their capacity, given their infrastructure cannot be increased overnight? And then do this at the same time delivering a quality of patient healthcare, maintaining the assets that are the critical utilities in our healthcare, maintaining them remotely as well as they can. These are the areas where healthy buildings can come in, and we can support the healthcare facilities once we start doing those. And I think that's where my regard for focus goes up further, because as we dive into each one of the segments, we can have separate discussions on each one of the segments to take you into further details. Next slide, please. Look at the hospitality scenario. It's been very hard hit, and the confidence that the guests must feel before they go back to hospitality is paramount. The costs, again, when the business is run dry, the costs have gone up. The overall energy cost in the hospitality industry is really making a bigger dent. Looking at how the entire capital cost plans have gone haywire. What can we do to work on indoor quality, give the confidence back, making sure that sustainability is not compromised? Now you'll see one of the areas that I've observed is when the pandemic has hit us, it is also shifting people's behavior in purchases to looking at first cost more than a life cycle cost. It's not just about HVAC, air conditioning, it's about, I think, pretty much everything. And this is where the IGBC's work or sustainability becomes even more important. Because if we change our attention and focus and move towards the use and throw mindset, it's going to become even more difficult in times to come for the sustainability cause that we have. Next slide, please. I'll leave you with this last slide. This talks about, and I think Mr. Suresh did speak about this briefly. So it's not just the environment, it's also the societal impact, the social impact. So it's the ESG goals that we as Carrier have announced worldwide. And they are about 1 gigaton reduction overall in the carbon footprint in the next 9 years. Now, this is non-trivial for all of you to relate to 1 gigaton. It's equivalent to the carbon emissions by an economy like Japan in a year. Now, you can imagine that we are looking at reducing that for our customers and for whatever we do on products, we do on service, retrofits, coming out with new technology. But this is our commitment, and we stand with the IGBC and focus. Thank you.
Thank you, Chirag. I think it was a wonderful presentation, especially, Chirag, what I felt when I saw your presentation, the 9 foundations you've spoken about, where you mentioned that thermal comfort, you mentioned ventilation, noise control, and various other 6 aspects. I felt that when the architect design a building, especially when we say it's a green certified building, so we take an integrated design, we consider all these aspects in the design. But what happens when building actually comes into the operation? So that time, if you don't look into the operational efficiency and you don't measure and monitor the resource efficiency as well as the quality of air, thermal comfort, and through building automation or various other technologies you have, I think still you can't achieve your goal. So this is what I felt for after seeing your presentation, that if really we want to talk about healthy building, so it's very important you just don't talk about only the design, but you talk about its efficient operation and its measurement and monitoring through various tools and strategies. I think this is what the takeaway from your presentation.
Absolutely.
And of course, you've spoken about your ESG goals. So being such a responsible organization, I think that's an inspiration for others. And all the best for your vision of 2030 for your ESG goals. You have already kept as an organization goal. So I think wonderful. We are looking forward for that. So you will be your organization will be the reason for changing this, a transformation, I would say, for the communities. Thank you, Chirag. I think you have a time constraint, so I understand that. So, and I think apart from that, Chirag, you just want to leave right now. So can I call the other speaker?
No, absolutely. I'll stay on for a bit, and
Okay.
I would like to hear other leaders'
Oh,
perspectives
wow,
as
great.
well.
So you just be here with us for some time. Thank you, Chirag, and thank you very much. And we can have, if you are there, so we can conclude the session and we can take a view that time. So my next speaker is Dr. Sunita Purushottam. I think I can see her. Dr. Sunita, are you there? Hello?
Yes, I'm very much.
She is there. First of all, I am so sorry, Dr. Sunita, because you are my second speaker, but just Chirag has requested me. So I'm so sorry for that.
No worries.
So before I call Dr. Sunita Purushottam, let me just talk few words about her. Dr. Sunita is heading, as I said, Mahindra Life Spaces as a sustainability head. And she has a wonderful profile, I would say, as a woman. I would say she is the reason, and she is inspiring woman in the India who's working in this area and, representing the organization and also, taking its commitments and goals in terms of execution within the organization level. So I think Sunita ji will give you more insight about her, the thought process, what she feels about sustainability and how she's trying to, bring this sustainability as a part of her business module within the Mahindra company as a, and she looks forward, how the green building, what the healthy building. So let's listen her perspective about healthy building. So Sunita ji, you share your slides. Yeah.
Thank you. There is a disturbance, is there, or am I clear?
No, you are audible.
Cool.
Yeah,
Cool.
you can just share your slide. Yeah.
Okay, sure. I will. So thank you, Malaji, for the opportunity. And I have actually spent some time trying to think how best to present this, healthy buildings, healthy planet. What's worrying lately, since a long time being in this area, I have my PhD in environmental science and engineering, and it has been a harrowing journey for the planet, actually. And I wanted to, place the perspective that can we go ahead in this manner, or what needs to be done to reverse it? So I'm just wanting to link it to the health of the planet, and my focus will start from the health of the planet first. So let's do a health check, so to speak. So this is our home, the home that we know. Everybody calls this, it's blue, green, and wonderful. And Jeff Bezos loved it when he went up recently in his 10 minutes space journey, and he saw the blue planet from the top. But lately, and more so, and Malaji spoke about the tipping points, we are facing a lot of distress. So what kinds of distress are we facing? It's been confirmed that both Antarctica and Greenland are losing ice, and up to 350 billion tons each year. The sea is rising, and this is millimeters. This has risen to 11 millimeter worldwide since 1992. But the tipping points are worrying, and it's important to understand what tipping points are. Tipping points are irreversible changes, and the pace at which millimeters will increase to meters is what the tipping point will lead to, right? So this is confirmed. This is happening. It's very difficult for the Arctic or the Greenland ice to reform, right? Lakes are disappearing, and with temperatures rising in various parts of Europe, we have seas going reduced in size, lakes disappearing, and so on. So that's the result of the climate change, the temperature. We know that Amazon is burning. And in 2019, there was a lot of uproar. Then after COVID, that uproar died down. Amazon is still burning, but now the world isn't watching. So if you remember, there was pressure on the Prime Minister of Brazil to look at, how this can be stopped and so on. And there was an international furore over this Amazon being burnt. How do you contribute to Amazon being burned? It's worth pondering that how we all contribute to Amazon being burnt, right? We see this lately in Maharashtra. We've seen a lot of flooding, weather events becoming very, very intense. We see this in Bombay. We feel it will go away. And today the news item from IMD came up. This is going to become worse, more intense, and so on. So temperature of the planet has to be maintained like a body temperature. The planet also has a temperature. And please, if you want to, interact with me, put your questions. Why don't you type down what is the temperature of the Earth? Just put your answers over there. What is the temperature of the Earth? What do we mean by rise in temperature? What is the average temperature of the Earth? And what do we mean by rising temperature? The other thing that the planet is facing, of course, it's biodiversity loss. And you must be wondering why there are no pictures of birds here, because birds are getting extinct. There are in India, we are facing up to, third of the species face extinction. 19% of amphibians are threatened. 12% of wild mammal species are threatened with extinction. Over 90% of the area under biodiversity hotspots are lost. That's the state of environment in 2021. And why this picture? It is indicative of development. It's indicative of construction, with, of course, labor camps here and the construction activities going in the right? That's typically how it begins. Recently, I was just also looking at how grasslands in India are lost. So not everything is forested in India. There are natural habitats, right? So it is not just forests that we have to preserve. We have to also understand that there are grasslands, there are forests, there are areas that have lakes and so on. As a result of which biodiversity is preserved. And we feel कि नहीं इसमें तो झाड़ नहीं था, तो इसमें construction कर सकते हैं. It's fallow land. So land is not like that. It is stratified, graded, and if you have studied geography in your school life, and had taken interest in studying geography, you will understand that there are areas across the world where there are grasslands. India is no different. We have grassland, we have mountains, we have forests, we have coastal areas, and we have deserts as well. So that's how it is. But we feel that land available which doesn't have trees is amenable to development, and that's how development keeps happening. Okay, now another quiz here. There are 4 images here. Tell me which one is most polluting, which you think is the most polluting. I'm keeping an eye on the chat window. Can I see the chat? I don't know, Malaji, if you can see the chat.
Sorry, what you said? Yeah, I can see the chat. Yeah.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, so somebody has said that the bottom left is the one with the
dump.
Yeah, the dump.
Yes.
Yeah. Then and then Dr. Punaya, 14 degrees. That's absolutely correct. It's 14.1 and rising. And the rising temperature now it's 1.2. We want to limit it to 1.5. And yeah, somebody said 1. 1 is the one with the stacks. So that used to be in 1990s when air pollution sensitization started happening. Government aimed to bring in sensitization on the industrial chimneys, because at that point of time we didn't have so many cars, neither were we consuming so much to produce so much waste, neither did we stay in high rises. So therefore the industries were the most polluting. Yes, but now what has happened, it is the homes that are most polluting.
Which looks clean.
It looks clean. It is very deceptive. It is very deceptive. It looks clean. It is as if, we are all contributing to it. We all own cars. We travel in cars. We all generate waste, and it goes to the dump. and we buy products which are manufactured by coal. And what to talk about things, transported wood item, paper items, items that we get from China, and so on. So our consumerism and the pattern, each one of us, believe me, are responsible for the state of the planet. So let that sink in, and unless it resonates that this is what we have done to the planet, we can't stay healthy. Now, some of these solutions that are provided are definitely there. I'm not saying there are no solutions. There are solutions. But to access the solutions, there will be a difference. It is not inclusive. So sustainability is therefore, for example, rich can afford organic food, rich can afford organic cotton and silk, or food that don't have pesticides, or homes with air purifiers and ACs and so on. So we are making sustainability inaccessible for the people, and that's very disheartening. That's very disheartening, because the health of the planet is lost. We are only wondering about ourselves. So climate change, we are saying that 3 billion people could live in extreme heat by 2070. And there's a rising demand for air conditioners in hot countries. And the temperature rise by the end of this century is going to be much more than 1.5 degree. And with 1 degree rise, we are feeling the heat. Can you imagine what will happen when we will go beyond 1.5? Right? The impacts are now, and they are happening. It is on us. And construction by no means is, bereft of impact on the environment. And that's what this diagram is trying to show. Construction definitely is very polluting, primarily because of the resources that it draws. Apart from that, the activity itself has an impact on air, on climate, on noise, on land, on water, and flora and fauna. There is so much disturbance caused. There's loss of vegetation, loss of habitat. And I have here put only water pollution. What it does to the water cycle is unthinkable. Concrete should come with a label that it's harmful for the health of the planet. Just as we have on a pack of cigarette, that smoking is injurious to health. So the impact of real estate on the environment is devastating. I have just about listed a few things, what it does to biodiversity, what it does to the water cycle, what it does to flooding, what it does to to the health of the planets. It's unthinkable that so much of destruction of the environment can be attributed to just one sector, right? 40% of the emissions, 40% of drinking water pollution, 50% climatic change globally, 50% landfill waste, air pollution, one sector contributing to this. How do you feel about it? And if you were to be a homeowner and to say that I'm going to be buying a home with any developer who doesn't take care of these impacts, you are turning your eyes and ears away from the fact that the developer who has built a home has not accounted for the air pollution it has done, or the water pollution, or the climatic change, or the waste that it has sent, or the energy that it has consumed. So that's the value chain that needs to be understood, that how devastating construction activities could be, and it needs to be contained. And that's precisely what green buildings aim to do, not just for the homeowner, but for the health of the planet. Look at the construction sector impacts. I have not put out over here the impact of real estate on the migrant labor community. They are dependent on the construction sector. The social aspect of construction is also deep and needs to be understood very, very deeply. And for a developer who takes into account all the social angles associated with construction, the labor, the occupational health, the payment, the wages, the human rights, that's what it goes into the development of an actual green building, right? So are buildings, or the way we construct, helping in keeping the planets healthy? Mostly no. That's what you see, right? So the choices that we make of buying a home with any developer without asking the developer of how the development has come up is therefore a moot point here, right? And therefore, would you ever buy a home without asking a developer that how was the development done? And if you want to really see it, ask for a site visit during the construction phase. You will understand. And then whose health? Of course, these are pictures of us, people like us who live in good homes, families, our children, and so on. But I also wanted to put a picture of the common man, those who can't access whatever we have and the good fortune of even owning a home, right? So the health of the planet disturbs not only us, but everybody else who cannot afford the homes that we have the good fortune to have and own. So what do we need for our health? We need clean air, we need to exercise, we need a social circle, we need water, food, good food, clean water, green spaces. Green spaces are linked to mental health. We need it, it's disappearing. India tops, 21 cities in India top the global list in air pollution, pesticides found in food, steroids in milk, and non-vegetarian food. It's very common. We hardly watch labels. We go for what is the cheapest. By 2025, half of world's population will be living in water-stressed areas. India is deeply water-stressed. India Water Tool is a tool that you can go and enter the latitude and longitude of your location, and you'll find the water-stressed areas of your location. By 785 million people globally even lack basic drinking water facilities. Digital lives are impacting leading to a limited social interaction, and there's a rapid shrinkage in green spaces due to urbanization. Can we reverse this? Can we design for less maintenance? So this is typically how a maintenance bill looks like. This is from my housing society, and we analyzed this because we wanted to put up a solar, and we looked at 23% comes from electricity. And of course, it's linked to lifts, lobby lighting, pumps, and so on. So lifts and pumps are the guzzlers, energy guzzlers. Can we design to be climate responsive? And what does climate responsive mean? First of all, trying to see whether the building itself has a better thermal comfort. So reduce the thermal heat gain into the homes with the help of passive cooling techniques, then go for active cooling techniques, and then go for renewables. So that's the strategy most people should be following to arrive at renewables rather than trying to put renewables before doing the reduction in energy demand. And climate responsive design is understanding, okay, what kind of home should we design in a region which has more rainfall or which has more heat and so on. And typically vernacular architecture guides us in showing that what is suitable in Rajasthan or Jaipur is not suitable in, say, Chennai, right? Typically vernacular architecture is climate responsive, but now homes everywhere look the same. There's a lot of use of glass and so on. Local materials are, we have to actually encourage the use of local materials. Okay, so can we design for more greens? So typically there is a trend now of MIYAWAKI forest, and this is how typically it looks, which helps in creating habitats for birds and animals, improves mental and physical health. This is from our world city, Chennai, where over 3 lakh saplings have been planted, world city, Chennai, using the MIYAWAKI method. And the other aspect here is how can we design for better indoor environmental quality? Earlier speaker Chirag spoke about indoor quality and the importance. So the other aspect that we also focus on at Mahindra Life Spaces is low VOC paints, ventilation, and maximum daylighting, smoke-free common areas. Along with climate responsive design, if you are to use indoor air quality parameters, it is definitely very, very beneficial for the occupant health. Can we design to encourage walkability and exercise? And this needs to be deeply thought through. Most of our projects have lanes that are specifically designed for walking and cycling. How can we design to treat, conserve, and recycle and reuse water? So the idea here is to look at all aspects of water conservation, treating, and becoming more resilient. The other aspect of drought tolerant species are native species, where we look at encouraging biodiversity within our locations. Can we design for water saving, social connect, and water conservation across the large format projects that we have? And these are all based on the principles of green building. I'm not speaking anything different, but the just trying to link it to how green buildings not only lead to the health of the occupant, but also to the resource conservation and saving water, reducing impacts, and thereby enhancing the health of the planet. And that's very important. For example, here we look at sourcing building materials within 400 kilometers, buildings with recycled content up to 20%, and diverting construction waste away from landfill is the other aspect that we look at deeply, including engaging with our supply chain partners, contractors, and suppliers. Waste segregation in the use phase is very important, and 100% organic composting is what we aim for at all locations. Can we therefore reverse the health of the planet for our health through better design? Definitely it is possible. And I want to take you through the Mahindra Sustainability Framework, which is the guiding framework for our work at Mahindra Life Spaces. The idea here is to create value and enabling stakeholders to rise while rejuvenating the environment and building enduring businesses. We have a 100% green portfolio. That means all our buildings are green buildings. Our large format are also green certified. This is our guiding framework where we look at the profit, people, planet, profit, so that we are able to build the financial capital while building the ecological and the social and human capital. We actually, in 2018, took a little bit of a pause to recraft our 2.0 journey, where we have committed to science-based target. Now, climate change, and you can always take a target and say, I'm going to be carbon neutral, but science-based target is the mechanism that helps you actually align with the science of arriving at 1.5 degrees to keep the emissions at 1.5 degrees associated to your sector. We have deeply integrated risk and opportunity into our projects, and we are tracking it. There is a financial impact on business. Opportunity-wise, it's definitely how we can make better buildings and so on. By 2040, we aim to be a carbon neutral business, and the aspect over here on change management is making sustainable personal. Making sustainable personal cannot be neglected, because that's the main area which enables a business to start thinking at the ground level, at all levels of the organization. Every person starts thinking as to how to contribute for the planet, for a better planet, and create better buildings. Everybody knows about the SDGs. The growth alignment has to be in line with SDGs, leading to zero waste to landfill. We have already achieved the zero waste to landfill certification for City CHENNAI. We are looking at moving towards integrated reporting through integrated thinking. So with this, I end my presentation. Malaji, thank you so much for the opportunity. Happy to take questions.
Yeah, thank you, Sunita ji. It was a wonderful presentation. I think you spoke about the challenges, you spoke about as a developer, like your perspective, how do you ensure that environmental impact due to the development? So how you are ensuring, the mitigation measures, which you just spoke about through green building approach, actually, which you just mentioned. But also, actually, I just would like to know, being a sustainability head, for your organization, how do you ensure that the capex cost of the green buildings, in terms of materials and some, some sort of extra initiative you need to take to make it as a green building. So what kind of challenges you face and how do you, sort out those problems? Can you just give some sort of experience to the audience? So I think that will really helpful to other leaderships as well.
Yeah, so it is challenging because you have to explain the science behind why a particular aspect has to be taken into account. So for example, I say, for example, I have to build the case for solar, right? The mechanism to go about it, not just for one project, right? So the process has to be common across every project. So we started working with BEEP, the Building Energy Efficiency Program, on doing the energy simulations for our projects to look at opportunities for reducing energy demand in the common areas as well as in the unit. What about the thermal comfort and so on? So by reducing the energy demand and enhancing energy efficiencies in common areas, we then went in for the solar. So we established a process with the help of the BEEP team to look at how we can incorporate this and have a process for ROI calculation, so that we are able to present to the management what is the capex, what is the payback period, and the return. And of course, the return is not to us. Okay. With that decision, we take it to the decision maker and then say that, okay, this potentially is the return and the reduction in the maintenance cost for the resident. And this is how we are pushing it here. Because definitely for the developer, it is capex, but it is opex for the homeowner.
Yeah, but Sunita ji, generally, for when you hand over the building, for at least still it is not fully occupied. So still, the developer role is there in terms of operation and maintenance of the building. So that time, suppose it is a green building. So how do you ensure that still, your operational team is working, with the efficient approach, understanding the systems, whether these are green building systems, and so how do you ensure your support in sensitizing and connecting with the facility team, to make them sure that they are performing and they are taking care and monitoring, measuring the resource consumption. So that would be very something very useful for the audience actually.
So facility management team has to be deeply sensitized, and there are challenges. It is not that there are no challenges here, because many of the facility management team may not have the technical wherewithal of various aspects of running the building. So we have to do hand-holding. For example, for rainwater harvesting, we have created a SOP, which actually is across the organization, right from design to construction to the facility. So the SOP is all covers 3 phases: design, construction, and the facility. And the sensitization was done to the facility management team as to what should be
because
the procedure.
That's very important aspect, that we talk about green building, we make green buildings, but finally, when we operate the building, and then I think is the real value to the project, and I think real benefit to the customer, to the end user.
Absolutely.
So this is my urge to Mahendra also, to come up front and to encourage other developers also, because right now, if you see the scenario in India, we have only 5 to 7% green building. If you see the entire amount of buildings we are going to develop, and we have existing buildings. So we need to do a lot, and we want that developers like you participate in this kind of forums and sensitize other developers also, to come ahead and take this approach. Thank you, Sunita ji. So it was really wonderful presentation, and we will be looking forward to your presence in our future programs. And so just be there with us, because our next speaker is Mahesh sir. He's also waiting since long. Mahesh, are you there, sir? Mahesh sir? Hello?
Yeah, I'm very much there.
Sorry, I keep you waiting because I want to interact with every speaker thoroughly.
No problem, no problem.
That was the idea, because what we conclude, you know, from his presentation and what audience also get out of that, that's also important actually. Yeah, then it makes a sense of the show.
Right.
So I think Mahesh sir, I think everyone knows him. He is the face of Nippon paint in the country. And even when you see about the cricket teams, I will not say the names of your both cricket teams you are sponsoring, but you are the name there. Nippon Paint is always there. Cricketers are wearing your, the dress code, and so we know very much your brand. So Mahesh sir is, just talking about what is his basically how he thought about what is a healthy building, and being an entrepreneur, being a the product manufacturer, how they are also ensuring the sustainability in the product manufacturing, in the process, and in terms of life cycle cost also, I would say, of their products they are delivering, and also how they ensure the health and well-being of the people. So I would like to just say 2 words about, it's not because it's a very big introduction about you. So Mahesh sir is basically the president of decoratives business for the Nippon Paint India, having 25 years of experience. And I think sir will talk about his product himself and how they are contributing sustainability, being a product manufacturer and supplier. So sir, please just share your slides. We would like to see your thought process.
Thanks, Malaji. Very warm good evening, Suresh sir, and the chairperson of this forum, Malaji, and forum team, and all my other speakers. I think the presentation is shared with you, or do we have, or can I show mine? Is it okay?
I can share it, sir.
All right. Okay. Just go to the slideshow mode.
Yeah. Put it in the full screen, Mamta.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Thank you. So I think I'll be slightly different than the other speakers because I heard all of them speaking about the real concerns they had, or the real botherations they had on the mother planet Earth. And of course, I keep telling to everyone that, we don't have an alternate planet to live on. There's only one planet left, and it's going to take another few hundreds and thousands of generations. So we need to keep that alive. And so how much we can, as a paint manufacturers, we can do, we are doing it. So I'll be talking more of the product side and what Nippon Paint is contributing towards the healthy environment, or in a green building, how Nippon Paint is helping to be as keeping the incumbents more healthy, and now of course after this COVID also very safe. That's the key point of my talk actually. And my team has put in a presentation about more of the company, and I think I'll just rush through that because this is something which is not related to today's subject. Today's subject is more of how Nippon Paint can contribute towards healthy and green and healthy buildings. So we are inspired by all of you, the stakeholders, the internal stakeholders, the external stakeholders, and the people who contribute to the organization, contribute to the society, everybody, and survives or thrives because of that only. So that's why we have this tagline, inspired by you tagline. Customer focus is customer delight is our most important focus. So my factory, we have a factory in Sri Perumbudur, and since DNA is more of eco-friendly and human-friendly products, and we are helping for the sustainability. And these are our factory's ecometric performance indicators. Energy saving. Just press your bottom arrow.
I can sign at the back. I can
yeah, thanks. So 56% reduction on specific energy. Next. Yeah, 42% on the carbon emission. Next. 58% on the fresh water usage, and 31% of the waste reduction. And paint manufacturing involves everything in sizable quantity, and it is a process where paint is manufactured based on the cycle time. So we keep on working on reducing the cycle time with innovative ideas. So that is how this energies have been saved.
All the brand managers are personally very well known.
Malaji, you have to mute Suresh Shah because he has some.
Suresh sir, you need to mute your mic.
Yeah. So this has been our driving force for us, and we continue to grow sustainability and reduce our footprint through our journey. Next slide, please. Yeah. So we all know that this is how even the previous speaker, Dr. Sunita, was talking about the pollution, which is all we call it as an outdoor pollution. The smoke which has been let out by the cars, the smoke which is let out by the industries, and the garbage and the forest fire which is happening. Next slide. And we all know that what does it make the human life such a disaster with all these pollutions? It almost kills your nervous system, right? And it leads to a lot of diseases which will be fatal for a human being, not only for human being, also for the other creatures which are living in the planet. Yes, next slide, please. Next slide, please. Next slide. Yeah, so we saw that in the last presentations also. Even Chirag was touching upon that. Your indoor air should be more pure than your outdoor air, because indoor air, it looks clean and neat, but it is highly polluted than the outdoor pollution. So healthy buildings mean the people who live inside should be healthy. That is how the building has to be made healthy. Because Nippon is part of the IGBC's founding member, we always listen to, or we have been collectively working together with IGBC. So IGBC started as a program of getting the projects green. But now today we are talking about how we can make people inside that project safe and healthy, and that's the whole objective of this here. Next slide, please. Next. One more slide, please. Yeah, so as an organization, how Nippon is going to help people with the high-tech technology and international quality. What are we offering for the customers? What are we offering for the people who are living inside the green buildings to keep themselves healthy and keep themselves safe? That's our journey for it. Next slide, please. Yeah, so as I said, we are the founding member of IGBC, and we have our complete manufacturing process certified as Green Co. This is a certification issued by CII, and our complete manufacturing process in the plant where we are manufacturing all our products are completely green, and the products which come out of the factory is also Green Pro certified. So that's a very unique distinction we have, and we are one of the only company in India to have this, having the manufacturing process green, and the products which come out of that product when factory is also green. And green paint means it's not the color; it is basically the ingredients inside is green, right from the right from the raw materials what we use to the finished products and the entire life cycle. We make sure that we don't compromise on the philosophy of green. So these products are in a range wherein it starts from a basic 100 rupees product to a very premium product of 700 rupees. Everything what you buy in Nippon Paint is all certified to be a Green Pro product. So Nippon India, we started in 2006. We were the first company to introduce functionality in paint. Till such time, people in India were knowing paint as a colorful product or a product which gives color and protection. We were the first company to bring in functionality in paint, which I'll explain to you in my next slide. We were the pioneers in bringing in retailing in paints in the Indian industry. And we were the first to introduce eco-friendly paints, which are having, normally paints will have a pungent smell, but first time in India, we launched the products with very pleasant fragrance, like citric fragrance, apple fragrance, or hibiscus fragrance. And today we are in the verge of launching virus guard paint, which is going to protect your walls against this deadly COVID virus. And we are also launching painting services. Like today, when a customer see a paint advertisement or when he wants to get it home painted, he would like to do it by the company itself, by the manufacturer itself, so that he doesn't have to take too much of efforts in getting it painted. So these are the functions what we are doing it in India. Yeah, please next. Globally, we are a number 4 rated company, and in Asia Pacific we are number 1, and the headquarters is based out of Japan. And in paint manufacturing, we have a legacy of 140 years plus. Yes, next slide, please. These are the very okay. Sorry, that's fine. Okay, right. Okay, I'll just run through these slides. I'll go to the straight product slide because that's the one which I want to explain a bit more. Yeah, please. This is our factory, which is which all the accreditation it has. It is Green Co certified, Green Pro certified, all ISO size 9001 and 14001 certified. Next slide, please. So I said the range of products, right from interior emulsions, exterior emulsions, enamels, which is all surface like primers, base coats, everything we have, and all products are Green Pro certified. Almost like 75 products we have, it's all Green Pro certified by the IGBC. Yep. Next slide, please. Just next slide. Yeah, please. So this is where I just would like to take some time for all of you. So I just take it from where Chirag was explaining, like, you need to, today we are almost spending most of our time indoors, and thanks to COVID, and we are almost 90% of our time are spending indoors in connecting virtual meetings and having virtual sessions, everything. Office space is completely shifted to indoors. Now, are we sure that my indoor air is pure? That's a question mark, right? So what Nippon is offering is a product which is called odorless air care, and this paint is formaldehyde free and formaldehyde abatement product also, which means that it doesn't have formaldehyde. It also abates formaldehyde from other potential sources. How does it happen? It absorbs all the formaldehyde and releases as water vapor, right? So what it happens is, like, your air is always, indoor air is always kept pure. Now, also Chirag has mentioned in one of his slides that what it makes is, it improves the cognitive functionality of human being. That is what this product does. You breathe always a clean air. You breathe air which is 90% pure of oxygen. So your cognitive ability improves. So this is a product which we are promoting, and last almost for 3 years or 4 years in India. Thanks to COVID, I think this has a lot of traction now in the Indian market. People have started using this product now. The product is odorless air care. And the next product is something called kits, which is offered for the small kids from the age group of 0 days to, I think, 14 years, wherein this is the time their brain develops and the cognitive abilities also develop. So this product is being done with a lot of research, and it talks about, or it gives clean air, safe touch, and washability. Now, what I mean by clean air is, as soon as the baby is born, it needs clean air for breathing. So this product is anti-formaldehyde and formaldehyde abatement product. Number 2, this product is a silver ion technology product, which means that virus and bacteria doesn't grow on this when it is painted on the wall. So once the kid starts crawling and touching the walls, it is safe to touch. It doesn't harm them. No germs, nothing grows in that wall. So it is safe to touch. Third, after the kid grows up to about 5-6 years of age, they start scribbling. Their artistic or all their talents come out, and they start drawing and scribbling on the walls. And this is washable also. So you can wash off the drawings, and then the wall remains clean. So it is another product, a very innovative product Nippon has launched, especially focusing on the kids, focusing on the total community of people who are using Nippon paint, where the kids have to be safe. At the same time, they also develop good brain which has the cognitive abilities. So very unique product. We have it in the market, and Maybe Dr. Sunita, since you are you are one of the pioneers in sustainability, maybe for Mahindra Life Spaces, we can connectively work on this products and we can use, and you can make them, make your incumbent, make your, the people who are buying your flats, buying your properties have benefit of these products. Other products of Spotless Next is again a product which has a beading effect, lotus bead effect, which means that any stains, it doesn't stick on the wall. Your walls will always be fresh. You don't have to bother about these walls at all. So these are very unique interior products which Nippon has brought in by way of its innovation, global innovation centers, and these are very uniquely offered to the Indian consumers, right? So another product which we are working upon is, and we are yet to launch this product, is post this COVID, how can we integrate, when I start sitting, or when somebody wants to work from home, most of its time, two things what they want. One is they want pure indoor air quality. Number two, they want all the surfaces to be safe, right? So we are developing that product. Almost it is in the stage of launch stage, wherein it is a combination of odorless air care plus a virus guard paint. So it has two unique properties which will be will be coming out. So it is what we wanted. I mean, Malaji, when she was talking in the initial stages, it is not about only having green buildings. Can we have healthy spaces? Can we have healthy indoors? And that's what we are, incidentally, we are working on that also, Malaji. And this is what this offering from Nippon Paint for this people, for this audience who are listening to it, we are going to have this offering coming up. Rest, everything about the presentation is about my products only, which all knows. Next slide, please. Yeah, these are our exterior products where you have a product which is very, very unique, which gives you a 15-year life for color protection, dirt protection, weather protection. You don't have to bother. Once you paint your home, you don't have to bother for 15 years. You can just be relaxed and be safe. And other product is what this one of the unique product is called Durafresh Solo, where you don't need a priming coat. It has a self-priming property, which means that it saves money, it saves time also. So these are the unique offerings which we are giving to the Indian consumers, and we have been doing very well in the Indian market in the last 15 years, and we are marching towards launching some innovative products. And some of the innovative products are going to be beyond paints, which is basically the construction chemicals, which are again going to be more useful for the building spaces, for the retrofit building spaces where you have to do some repair work and then do the painting. And we are also having brands like Celis, which is basically an adhesive, sealants and adhesives, which are also very low VOC and green certified products, and floor coatings. And so when you talk about Nippon, when you think about Nippon Paint, we have offerings from wall to wall, all surface, we have the solutions. That's what I would like to, talk about in this session. Any questions, I can take it maybe from Malaji or from you all.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mahesh sir. Thank you so much. I think the best part is nowadays, which I feel that the people are quite aware, what is the low VOC paint, because maybe it is after, there's a lot of advertisement on the TV channels and even in the government specifications in their BOQ, which we have observed as an expert, that they have started to write, low VOC paints, adhesives, sealants. So this is a good for you, because this is good for the, I would say, as a consumer also for me, and as a supplier for you as well. So that moment is already happening. So this is a very good thing. But I think still we need to work together, because we need to sensitize stakeholders, because some people don't know what is the meaning of VOC. Because when we say low VOC, they say what is VOC? So something, some ground root level work we need to still work, and more sensitization process is required, I would say, where I think this kind of collaboration for the larger community at a mass level. Anyway, I think there are so many strategies and ways of doing all those things, but that's the area we need to work on, just to take it to the mass level, which I feel. And apart from that, I would like to congratulate your company for bringing this, special solutions for bacterial infection and
Virus infection.
yeah. This is what I feel, that this is a new gen technologies we are talking about. Because today's words, we have already experienced pandemic, so we know that what is the importance of health. So this is what we are looking forward. The products like green certified products, which is not a product, but your factory is already green. So this
Yes.
is what you people are, the setting your benchmark. I think other manufacturers, other product suppliers, they will also get inspiration, because
Right.
we need to encourage everyone from these forums. Yeah. So thank you, Mahesh sir, and
Thank you so much.
once again for your esteemed presence with us. But just stay with us, because my next speaker is also very important, and I think he's waiting since long. So hats off to him. I think Manjunath sir, are you there?
Very much here, Mala.
And I'm so sorry we keep you waiting for a long, but I want to listen every speaker, and everybody's perspective was very important for us, for the audience as well. So Mr. Manjunath V. Rao, he is representing as a Standards and Program Manager for the Underwriters Laboratory Incorporation, which is a UL company as a brand, and I think one of the best global company, which is into standards, and they are basically, providing us the benchmarks, and they're also certifying the products and materials. So Manjunath sir, you have a very big introduction. So I would prefer that if you just represent UL and provide us some insight about your standards, how useful they are for the community, for the manufacturer suppliers. So please, you can go ahead, sir.
Thank you very much, Mala.
Thank you.
Is my voice clear?
Yeah, your voice is very
Could you please allow me to share my screen?
Please do that.
That's great. Thank you.
Yeah.
Mala, before I start, let me have a quick check on the time, because we are already beyond our time schedule of 5:30. How much time do you think I have for my presentation?
Yeah, I think it's already 5:35. Sir, is it okay if I give you 10 minutes?
Yeah, I'll try to cover as much as possible in 10 minutes, while many of our earlier speakers have given enough of background about why it is important for us to look at the healthy buildings, healthy planet, and also sustainability, how severe is the thing, how severe all the that man-made activities have led to non-sustainability. So how do we make this happen? And thanks to our fellow panelists to bring up all these uh, challenges. Today I'm going to talk about a solution for all of this. Can we look at a solution? While all of us are aware, yes, the temperature is rising, the pollution is increasing. What do we do with all of that? And in a way, how do we make it more sustainable? How do we innovate products? As from Nippon, my fellow panelists spoke about the kind of products that they're innovating. All these innovations, how do we see to it that they're all meeting the end specification and also allows the innovation to continue? So that is the context of what I'm going to present today. Just let me give you a quick introduction about Underwriters Laboratories. There are two distinct organizations in UL. When you really look at, probably most of you get related to the UL listed products, UL certified products. However, UL has got two distinct organizations. One is Underwriters Laboratories Inc., which I represent. It's a non-profit organization which works on the research and standards, education, and outreach. Our aim is to make our mission of the organization to make world a safer place, create a safer living, safe, secure, and sustainable living for the planet. And what a wonderful theme or the mission Dominic presented. The most important thing is, how do we build the trust? How do we make this planet more sustainable? And what really attracted me is really talking about the utilities as a whole. It is not just limiting to one particular factor, because what we really need to look at is the system thinking. So with that, while I spoke about my organization as the non-profit organization, our other organization, which is the largest organization, which has around 15,000 people and around 140 locations, which takes care of the testing and inspection, testing, certification, and inspection, which is put as TIC industry. So we are two different organizations. So my focus is going to be more on the standards. How do we build the standards? How do we facilitate standards development in the region where we are working, and make the products and the technologies being more safer and more relevant for the region. So in my agenda today, let me talk about why standards, though many of our colleagues have already spoken about how important the standards are. I thought it would be good for me to give a quick introduction about why standards and how these standards lead to healthy and sustainable living, and not just to leave it there. What is the way forward that we look forward? Because all of us are talking about making this planet a safer place for us to live. So it's important for us to also commit ourselves for doing something which is going to ensure that we are really contributing towards that. Let me go with why standard. Let me ask you a question. Today, all of us, or at least me, I have been stuck to between four walls in home from last at least March 2020 till now. I hardly had an opportunity to go to office, and I am stuck to the chair and my table with my laptop. Let me ask you a question here. Is this the right posture for sitting? If anyone would like to answer, please put your comment. No, that's great. Thank you. How about this? Better. How about this?
A slight tilt maybe.
How about this?
I think this is better one, when you have a rest for your neck also.
Excellent.
Much better.
Fourth is better. Fourth is better.
Yes.
Excellent.
Yes.
So both the third and fourth are the right positions. But how do we know all of this? Because what we really need to know is, where do our vision has to be. What is that I'm going to look at? How my hands are to be placed? How do my legs have to be placed? What kind of reclination I need to have? Or what kind of back support I need to have? Why I'm putting all this is, this brings you to say what right posture is, and how do you say what is right posture. If you have a standard, then you can relate and say. Otherwise, we may have ambiguous statements coming on stating that, okay, first one is obviously not okay, because which totally does not give you the right posture. But definitely will say, okay, two may be okay, third may be okay, fourth may be okay, or there is no definitive ways of measuring and stating what is the right posture. So that is the most important aspect that we really need to look at. How the standard is going to help. Standard is going to help us in identifying what is the right, how do we differentiate the right from the wrong, and how do we create that benchmark for us to go ahead. So with that quick introduction, so let me give you a kind of definition. What do we mean by standard, and what does standard really talk about? Standard is a technical document which is designed to be used as a rule. As I said, it gets used as a benchmark. It gets used as a rule for us to look at any system, product, or a process. And it also acts as a guideline or definition while we define any of the process or the system that I spoke about. It is always built based on the consensus. Now I'm going to talk about what we mean by consensus, and it helps in bringing out repeatable way of doing things. So whether it is a product or a process or a system, it has to have a repeatable way, and the product or the system continues to meet the requirements, that meets the end user's requirement, that meets the manufacturer's requirement, that meets the regulator's requirement. So it is actually an accepted or approved example of something against which others are judged or measured. And standards are, most importantly, is as I said, it is a consensus process where we have manufacturers, sellers, we as buyers, customers or the consumers, the trade associations, users, regulators, and the academicians and the researchers. All of them come together and build a standard. Now, what we mean by consensus is, if let's take a hypothetical case where we have all the manufacturers sitting together and very few consumers or the trade associations being there, or then trying to define. So what could happen is it always gets skewed towards making the manufacturer's life simpler than really looking at the scientific data or even the what the user is really expecting. So it gets overpowered by one particular stakeholder community. Whereas whenever a standard is built, it is most important to see that all the stakeholders in the standards development are agreeing to a particular requirement which gets defined. Again, if I have to give an example, if I have only regulators, if I have only people who specify, or only the researchers which are going to overpower the whole stakeholder community, they may make sure that only best of the technology or the latest of the technology gets into it, and there is no tolerance at all, and there is going to be so much of imposition on having a particular specification being met, not considering the manufacturer's constraints, then again it is going to have an imbalance. So at the end of the day, it is most important for us to look at how do we build a standard which is consensus based at meeting all the scientific data and making sure that the product is safe, secure, and sustainable for us to use. So there is a dictionary definition too. The Cambridge Dictionary talks about a level of quality. Collins Dictionary states that a standard is a level of quality or achievement, especially a level that is thought to be acceptable. So what do we mean by acceptable? All of that gets covered, and that is the ISO definition that I spoke about earlier. Now, what is the role of standard in the whole process? Why do we really need to look at the standard? Now, the intent of all of us who are sitting together here and talking about is to make and deliver safe, secure, and sustainable living for our consumers, we as consumer or to whom we are serving. So what is going to be important for us to do it? The first thing that comes is going to be the consensus based standards. They act as the foundation for us to really see what do we mean by safe, secure, and sustainable living, and how does my product or the system or the process delivers it. Now, when we have both of them, there has to be something which has to come in between, and to see to it that whatever that we are doing is meeting those objective. So first thing that comes is the conformity. What do we mean by is when there is standard which has been defined, how do I make sure that it is meeting all the stated requirements of safety, security, and sustainability? There has to be a party. It could be me as a manufacturer or me as a third party who can come and assess, state that yes, this product or a process or a system meets the requirement that has been defined in the standard. However, what could happen is there has to be some deviation in the process, or there could be intentional deviations. So if I am doing if I have to really make sure that the quality of the product is consistent throughout the lifestyle, I mean throughout the life cycle of the product, right from manufacturing level to the consumer level, we need to have a kind of surveillance, which is going to be probably announced inspection or unannounced inspection. Go and pick the product from the market and assess its suitability and conformance to the requirement that has been defined in the standard. So the market surveillance becomes another important factor to make sure that standard gets translated and it delivers the expected quality. But putting all of them together, because we have a conformity assessment body and I have got a market surveillance body, and they are the one who can act as supremos, which is not right, because whatever I say today is right is not the right aspect. There has to be someone who is going to overlook and see what is right. So there we need an accreditation. The accreditors act as one who is going to put control, hold control on all the things. So as a whole, if we have to really look at the quality ecosystem to make sure that we are delivering the safe, secure, and sustainable living, there is all these four elements become an important factor, and the standards becomes the foundation for us to deliver that sustainable living. With that background, let me get into the what we mean by healthy building. Healthy building just does not mean that it is a green building, just does not mean that it has got good indoor air quality, just doesn't, it does not mean that we have good thermal comfort. It also means it is safe, it is secure, and it meets all the requirements that a building occupant has to really experience. So I'm just taking a one step ahead and also keeping the focus objective of bringing all the utilities together. It is important for us to look at building as a whole, and so that, as I said, not taking only one stakeholder community here, not just taking just one aspect of the building. So it is the system thinking that we really need to look at and make sure that we have the products being used which conforms to the requirement, which makes sure that the building or the built environment is safe, secure, and sustainable. So now let me take kind of what kind of approaches that we can take. Now, when you really look at what do you really do when you have to build anything, first thing you do is design. You design for sustainability, as architect man was talking about. She said we design for sustainability, we keep into consideration all the aspects what is required, so that the product that we are bringing out, that is the solution that we are developing, is sustainable. And then you build it, you make it. Now what do we do with all of this is we validate ourselves. Once we validate, there are the aspects which comes out. How do I continuously innovate and bring the new designs? So standard acts as a facilitator for the validation, which in turn brings the innovation in the product on the system. So as a whole, standard acts as a prime for doing the innovations and continue to build sustainable solutions. If you really look at maybe 15 years back, just the energy efficiency was considered as the most important factor. Then we realized it is not just the energy efficiency. We need to look at the water efficiency. We need to look at the thermal comfort. We need to look at the lighting comfort, the acoustic comfort, and what kind of impact it has got on the human being. Because at the end of the day, productivity and the healthy of the occupant is going to be the most important. So that is how the standards really help. Because when you look probably in the early 2010s or 26, it was only the energy efficiency. We really did not much focus on the other aspects. Today, because the standard got evolved, standard forced all the researchers or the manufacturers and all the academicians and the consumers also to demand more. So standard act as a prime here. So as a whole, for us to really make sure that the planet is what we are working towards is a sustainability standard, the safety standard, and security standard. All of them put together really leads to a safe, secure, and sustainable living for us, and the healthy environment that we are really focusing for. Now, let me give you a few examples. While I have listed some of the examples here, I'll probably not touch upon all the things since it's already 5:53. I'll just say there are fire safety standards, there are electrical safety standards, there are various standards development organizations who have brought these standards. In India, we follow the BIS, the Bureau of Indian Standards, and we also develop standards. You will develop the standards which are built based on the consensus. These are all the various list of the standards. And in the security standards too, and definitely the sustainability standards, which I'm going to talk about, always the approach could be, one is just to validate and say, yes, it helps and it meets the particular requirement. But what we really believe is, how do we address the root cause? And all our standards address the root cause, which as probably Nippon Paint also endorses that the Green Guard standard that UL has developed, it really looks at the VOC emission at right from the foundation stage. How do we eliminate those emissions rather than or the VOC in the product, or the aldehydes in the product, they like formaldehyde and other thing. So, and also UL has developed the sustainability standards. I would also like to bring the standard that India has developed, which I am glad to know, and glad to inform here, and also with Suresh sir around here. IEQ standard, which was developed by ISHRE, has been adopted, and the well-being of the rating, the wellness rating has been developed based on this standard. And we at ISHRE continue to work on developing the standards which are relevant for India, which makes which meets the sustainability development goals that has been defined. So in fact, I am also glad to inform you that ISHRE has become one of the accredited standard development organization by Quality Council of India, and today they are working towards becoming a recognized standard development organization by BIS, that is Bureau of Indian Standards. I have also listed the commissioning standard because this is one of the aspects which came out very evidently in the previous discussions, that O&M becomes an important factor, the trained professional becomes an important factor, because while you have designed the product, while you have designed the system and selected the equipment, all of them keeping in mind to meet the design intent. However, if the product is not commissioned properly, it would not meet the end expectations or the end result that is expected. So ISHRE took the lead and has developed this standard. And today we are working with IGBC in terms of how do we have this being implemented, and probably look at adding some credit points for us to see how the commissioning of the building is done very consistently, meeting particular standard requirements. So I also wanted to just touch upon, this is the new buzzword, and it is not just the buzzword, it is actually the what we spoke about earlier as cradle to cradle approach. It is not just the cradle to cradle approach. We really need to look at because at the end of the day, it is the economy which is going to be affected. So it's the circular economy which has to be taken into consideration. There is UL standard which has been developed keeping in mind the complete life cycle of the product or the process or the system. So this is going to be the future that we are going to really look at. At the end, as I said, these are all the various standards that we have got and how it is going to help the circular economy. Let me say what I am proposing as the way forward for us is to adopt or adapt the standard, because I'm not saying that all the international standards or the global standards may or may not be relevant, though because there could be some local conditions. Now, how do we make sure that our local conditions are addressed in any international or global standard is participating in those standards development. I would encourage all of you to participate in our local standard development, which is like BIS standard or even in the ISHRE standard. Please participate, bring out more and more inputs so that the standard that gets developed has the local needs being addressed in the global standards and also in the local standards. Most important for us to really look at is how do we implement the standards for safe and healthy living. So with that, thank you very much. Thanks to Team Focus and Dominic, Suresh, Malaji for having me talking about the standards here. Thank you very much. If there are any questions, I'm more than happy to answer.
Yeah. I think, Manjunath sir, the best part in your presentation, which I really love, you address the resilience and sustainability together. So safe, secure, this becomes a complete package actually.
Absolutely.
So very, so I really appreciate it. And the second part you mentioned about circular economy standard, which itself is a very, very big subject. I would say global subject now.
Yes.
So I think definitely these standards are going to be the hot talk, the next gen now, I would say now present times. And the third thing which you had addressed about the HVAC commissioning standards, because till so far, in the green buildings for the third party commissioning, we were not having any, sort of I would say, strategic approach. So I think this standards under your leadership, because you are already heading ISHRE committee as a chairperson, I know that. So I think these standards are going to be really help us in the green building projects for the third party commissioning process. So that will in fact add more efficiency and to measure and monitor, for the long term approach and the post occupancy also of the buildings to address their, I would say, long term performance. So we can understand how they are performing also after building and design. So I think definitely your standards are going to help us, the society, in a large way. So keep your good work on and going on. So thank you very much, Manjunath sir. I think there was a question from the audience to you. I think some person was asking that, do you have how productivities improve, in the such healthy buildings, and do you have any standard of measurement for the productivity?
Okay. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Okay. I think the question was particularly with reference to what Mr. Bijay, right? Who from Career.
Chirag, Mr. Chirag, yeah.
Yeah.
He
That was
mentioned-
Chirag. That was Chirag's question. That question should be asked Chirag.
Yeah.
No, however, probably I can answer that also, because when we developed the IEQ standard, we did not stop with that in ISHRE. We went ahead in terms of seeing how there is an impact on the productivity. There was a research work which was done. There are some certain measurement methods which has been followed. Though I'm not competent enough to answer it in totality, but there are methods by which you are going to see, I mean, like how many people took the sick leave, or what kind of increase in the output that you could find because of the good environment quality. That gives the productivity improvement, and that is how the productivity is getting measured.
Yes, right. Because, productivity has a direct synergy with the building. I would say productivity as well as your performance of the building. It has direct connectivity. So I think green building, then healthy building, then we talk about performance today. And then at the end, we also talked about productivity. We talked about circular economy. And you spoke about, so many new innovative ideas in terms of standards. So definitely they are going to help us in a very large way. So thank you, Manjunath sir, and keep addressing us. Let's connect.
Mala, I'm sorry to interrupt. I think there is one some from anonymous attendee saying that consensus based also means compromised to accommodate all diverse requirements. It is not the compromised. I'm sorry to say that it is not the compromise. It is an acceptance by all the stakeholder community. There's no one who is going to twist arm and say that you should accept it. It is going to go by keeping everyone satisfied who is participating it, making sure that the end users requirement is met, the manufacturers requirement is met, the regulators and also the researchers requirements are being met. So it's not compromised. Yeah.
Yes, it has to be very inclusive actually. You're right. Yeah. So I think, Suresh sir, we can do the vote of thanks and with all the...
Yeah.
Are you there? Yeah. Okay. So thank you very much, all the dignitaries, my dear speakers and participants, especially Suresh sir, for being here with us. And I think in all the 4 presentations, the takeaway is we are not just restricting to green building as on today. We are talking about healthy buildings and how do we address, resilience and sustainability together in your indoor spaces and outdoor spaces, both at the micro and macro level, both. So how the technology intervention is also going to ask. I think somebody is asking from the audience now question and answer. He's just requesting for a question and answer session. I think, I don't know who's asking this. So, sir, can you do one thing? You can send us your questions so we can answer you. Yeah, our team will answer you separately. There is a focus forum we have, admin@focus.in. So you can just send your questions in the box and we will definitely address those questions because we have the time constraints. So sorry for that. Yeah. So I think today takeaway was it's healthy building, and healthy building is the talk of, I would say, it's a global talk. Now India also, we need to talk about this, and we need to address not only the building resource efficiency, but also the health and well-being of the people, the productivity, building performance, as well as, as you said, rightly said, Manju sir, about the resilience, safety, security, all these elements, integrated together, then makes your buildings more healthy and green. And then I think we can look forward for the healthy planet. When, our mindset is also like that, we are working on those areas. I think collectively it's a big agenda for all of us, and everyone has to contribute at an individual level, at an organizational level, and even from the government side also a lot of support is required, which we did not discuss today because time is the constraint. But definitely, this is the future, and the sustainability for tomorrow is the main subject of the, I would say, development. So it is not only development alone, it has to be sustainable and healthy development. So that is the future now. So it's the vision for, I would say, 21st century, which was the topic of today. And thank you very much again, my dear audience and speakers. I would request organizers to just play the sponsors video. And I would like to thank Nippon Paint as well as Carrier India for sponsoring this particular program. Thank you very much. And we look forward your participation in our next, future endeavors to sensitize people through these programs. Thank you very much for that. So Mamta, you can just play the videos.
For over 130 years, our culture of innovation has shaped the lives of millions. Building better, brighter, and happier lives full of color and opportunities. It all stems from breakthrough research meticulously developed by leading scientists and chemists at our world-leading facilities. We're all part of a diverse family who, together, make Nippon Paint Asia's #1 paint and coatings manufacturer, offering a complete paint and coating solution for total peace of mind. We're a Pan-Asian family unified and driven by our lean for growth culture of vigilance, insatiable appetite, teamwork, agility, leanness, stamina, allowing us to lead from the front of the pack. Corporate responsibility is ingrained in our DNA, promoting sustainability and developing skills, because people have always been at the heart of our company. Together, we strive for a sustainable business that positively impacts lives. Our ingenuity flows through every drop of the billion liters of paint and coatings we produce every year, adding color to all the industries we supply through strong distribution, and in turn enriched the lives of millions around the world. We continue to set new standards in coatings for motor vehicles. Our protective coatings sustain and enhance the performance of bridges, ships, fuel pipes, and chemical tanks. By offering developers and architects a variety of highly durable and weather-resistant options, we make it possible to realize their ambitions. And for our consumers, we strive to deliver the best end-to-end solutions, including design services to perfectly complement our products. We are Nippon Paint. We harness the brilliance of innovation. We inspire the lives of millions now and for decades to come.
Confidence is at the heart of everything we do at Carrier. Our systems fill buildings and homes with healthy, clean air. We detect and put out fires and help people stay safe and secure inside. Our innovations keep foods and life-saving medicines cold and fresh until they reach those who need them. At Carrier, we create solutions to help you build a brighter future. Inspiring confidence. Carrier.
thank you, Mahesh sir. I can see you. Manjunath sir is, Sunita madam is also there.
Yeah, Mala.
Hi. So we'll keep on meeting. We'll keep on interacting on these forums. And I think wonderful. It was a wonderful evening with all of you. And thank you, Mahesh sir. Again, I can see you really here. And
Thank you all. Thank you. Bye. Bye, Suresh sir. Bye.
Bye-bye. I enjoyed it.
Good seeing you. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you,
I
sir.
just told Akshay Garg, in particular, he's a no question answer. I responded that he had about 4 or 5 queries, and we should give a pointed response. 1 or 2 I would have done it if it's opened out, but we'll ensure that. I hope he got his email ID. Okay.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Please ensure that.
So we will address. Thank you, sir. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you. Namaskar. Sir. Thank you.
Well done. Well done. Good presentation.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.